WHO is proud to be uniting with many partners to launch the Access to COVID-19.
If we are vigilant and we can reduce the chance of infection, which we will.
Oggi è di restare a casa. Il futuro nostro dell'Italia è nelle nostre mani.
Get more testing.
Junto a funcionarios estatales.
We all need to take steps to reduce close human contact. That's how the virus is spread.
The virus will either spread faster or subside. Based on expert opinion, we need to do whatever we can to prevent it from spreading further.
부정적 영향을 최소화하기 위한 공조 방안이 논의될 예정입니다.
We continue to see new cases in Singapore.
Pagka hindi ito naayos ang COVID, papurnada talaga tayong lahat. Huwag din niyong madaliin.
According to World Health Organization, coronavirus are a large group of viruses that consist of a core of genetic materials surrounded by envelope with protein spikes. This gives it the appearance of a crown. Crown in Latin is called corona, and that's how these viruses get their name. Coronavirus is a respiratory disease which seems to start with a fever followed by a dry cough. After a week, it leads to shortness of breath and some patients require hospital treatment. These symptoms do not necessarily mean you have the illness. They are similar to those for much more common viruses such as colds and flu. In more severe cases, coronavirus can cause pneumonia, severe acute respiratory syndrome, multiple organ failure, and even death. Older people and people with pre-existing medical conditions such as asthma, diabetes, heart disease are more likely to become severely ill. The incubation period between infection and showing any symptoms lasts up to 14 days. Hundreds dead, thousands infected across multiple continents. Millions quarantined with whole cities in lockdown. But how did the coronavirus spread so quickly from patient zero in China to across the world? As people everywhere celebrate the start of a new decade, the World Health Organization is told that a handful of pneumonia cases in the city of Wuhan with no clear causes or origin, but there's one common theme that connects the patients. Wuhan seafood wholesale market. Many of these first cases are linked to worker at the market selling live fish, birds, and other animals. On January 9, the first death is confirmed. A 61-year-old man who was a regular visitor to the market in Wuhan. At that stage, Wuhan Health Commission say there's no evidence the virus could spread from person to person. Yet, after 2 weeks, on January 13th, Thailand reports its first case.
ยันการติดเชื้อโคโรนาไวรัส 2019 เนี่ยนะครับทั้งหมด 8 รายนะครับผู้ป่วยทั้งหมดทั้ง 8 รายได้รับเชื้อในขณะที่อยู่ต่างประเทศใน 8 รายเนี่ยกลับบ้านไปแล้ว 5 รายอีก 3 รายยังได้รับการรักษาอยู่ในโรงพยาบาล
Report of the first death in China came just before Chinese New Year, the country's biggest holiday and a time when millions are traveling all across the country and abroad. As plane left Wuhan, so did the virus on the 15th of January. Japan reported its first case.
The number of COVID-19 cases in Japan is increasing rapidly amidst a nationwide state of emergency. Experts say Japan is the only country in East Asia that has continued rise in the number of COVID-19 cases, showing no signs of flattening the curve.
Then the 20th of January, South Korea does too.
But upon conducting an autopsy, health authorities discovered he had COVID-19.
On the same day, South Korea reports its first case. It's confirmed that COVID-19 can pass from person to person. Official figures become clearer as the World Health Organization starts to publish daily reports when the number erupts with 282 cases reported from 4 countries, and it then jumped to more than 500 cases on January 23, 2020. On January 30, 2020, 2 patients in England who are members of the same family have tested positive for coronavirus with travel history in China, and the virus has now reached every state in the country, bringing worldwide total to 9,800 cases across 21 biggest countries.
Professor Chris Whitty, who's the Chief Medical Officer for England. He said, "We can confirm that 2 patients in England who are members of the same family have tested positive for coronavirus. The patients are receiving specialist NHS care, and we are using tried and tested infection control procedures to prevent further spread of the virus. The NHS is extremely well prepared and used to managing infections, and we are already working rapidly to identify any contacts the patients had to prevent further spread. We have been preparing for UK cases of novel coronavirus, and we have robust infection control measures in place to respond immediately. We are continuing to work closely with the World Health Organization and the international community as the outbreak in China develops to ensure that we are ready for all eventualities." So Chris Whitty, the Chief Medical Officer for England, confirming 2 cases have now been identified in this country. That follows cases in France and Germany and elsewhere.
On Sunday, the 2nd of February, the first death is reported outside of mainland China. A 44-year-old Chinese dies of the virus in the Philippines.
The condition of the patient deteriorated within the last 24 hours, resulting in his demise.
And then by February 4, the second death outside China mainland was confirmed in Hong Kong.
1月、2月18號就參加咗一個退休晚宴啦。咁啊，總共有59位嘅接觸者。咁我知道個晚宴嘅時
virus affected more than 43,000 people globally, and majority of them are from China. World Health Organizations and leaders all over the world are now in action on how to contain the virus from spreading farther.
If we fail to prepare, we're preparing to fail.
To stop transmission of this virus, it's very important that sick people wear masks. That's for clear. For people who have no symptoms, the mask will not necessarily protect them 100% because if they don't apply other measures, it's not sufficient. So my message is more that mask alone is not enough. It's a package of measures that you have to put in place.